tonight's topic is what, right? Master presenting to becoming a director. Okay, we want you to be a director. I want you to be a director. If you're already a director, then I want you to be a director maker. But we want to learn how to present. If you want to become a director, if when I have people that hit director that don't know how to present, I'm like, this is a temporary director. They're not going to be able to maintain qualifications. Okay, they just got there, and once I ask somebody, hey, can you do a presentation? Can you do the Monday night meeting, or can you do the Wednesday night meeting, or can you do? And they're like, and they start making excuses. I'm like, oh my God, this person doesn't know what they're doing. So you want to be able to learn how to do this. Trust me when I tell you this, okay? So the first thing is this: you got to understand the power of presenting. This is so important. You've got to understand the power of presenting. Okay. Like, give you an example. You guys all know what I look like, right? When I got started, this is what I looked like. Before I could learn how to present, I was looking like a knucklebird. Okay. I was a knucklehead. And that's before I learned how to present back when I got started in this profession. Once I learned how to present, I became unstoppable, right? So what you want to realize is oh God, I hate snakes. Okay. And where I live, there's snakes all over the place. Okay. And in the summertime, it gets brutal around here. Like I'll see like a snake all the time. Not all the time, but probably like once every like month or every month and a half, I'll see a snake, or I'll hear about a snake sighting in my neighborhood or something like that. Snakes are scary to me. I don't like them at all. I'm not a big fan. Okay. Now I know some of you are like, I love snakes. I got pet snakes. Okay, cool. That's great for you. Enjoy it. I'm not hating on you, but I'm just hating on the snakes. Okay. So, but I'm not as scared of a rattlesnake, but a baby rattlesnake, I will freak out because they're the most deadliest. Okay. And the reason being is because a lot of you know this, but baby rattlesnakes cannot control the quantity of the venom injected, right? The herpetology, right? In the field of herpetology is called venom metering. So when they strike you, they don't have venom metering, okay? So when a baby rattlesnake hits you, there's a pretty good chance you're going to die, okay? You're pretty good chance you're going to die. And the reason why is because they don't hold back any venom. Now, a grown-up rattlesnake, if it hits you, it's going to strike you, and you're probably not going to die, okay? You know what I mean? You'll hear about people dying all the time in our area from rattlesnake bites. People are all went on a hike, and you know what I mean? And my buddy was with me, and he died. You're like, what? Why? Number one, what are we doing? Like, stop. Don't go hiking. It's scary. But you got people that are just addicted to that stuff. But if you get hit by a baby rattlesnake, it's like you're toast because they don't have venom metering. They don't have any ability to be able to, they don't know the quantity of how much they inject into you. And the reason why I'm talking about snakes right now is not to give me nightmares tonight, but the reason why I'm talking about snakes is you want to create a bunch of baby rattlesnakes in your business, okay? That means that, like, I remember when I became a baby rattlesnake, meaning the first time I did a presentation and somebody joined, Rob Alarcia, I remember his name, and the guy got started and he joined, right? Now, obviously, I'm not talking about people that just joined the business and be like, all right, I'm in. Like, I'm talking about bought in that company to get started. It was basically $695 to join and then $500 for training. So it was $1,295 to be successful. Okay. And the first guy that I got to spend $1,295, I was like, what? How did that happen? And I was like, my confidence went through the roof. At that moment, I can remember I became a baby rattlesnake. I was like, oh my God, let's go. Okay. And once that's when you start to just get this feeling. You just want to do presentations nonstop. And it's whoever can have the most baby rattlesnakes is going to win. Right. So when you're developing your skills, okay, you want to understand that you're either a presenter or you're a new presenter. Okay. And if you've been in more than 4 weeks and you haven't gone through this is what you want to go through, okay? Is the first week you want to watch and learn every presentation while the presenter does 100% of the presentation. The second week you want to be doing 20% and let the presenter do 80%, okay? Now, if you're a presenter, you want to do 80-20, right? Week 3, you want to be doing 20-80, meaning you're doing 20% of the presentation as a presenter, new presenter starting to do 80. And then you want to get to the point where in week 4, you watch and admire them. This business is a business of duplication, okay? And you can't duplicate what you don't do. So you're never going to develop a presenter if you don't become a presenter yourself. Like the example I give people is once you become a presenter, you don't want to be a show pony, okay? You want to be a workhorse, okay? The workhorses get the paychecks. The show ponies, they have egos, okay? I'm a workhorse. I'm not a show pony, okay? I don't try to, I used to be able to be like, I don't want to say any ums or likes or like all these things, but now it's like, dude, who cares? Just share information, be yourself, share information. People like it, good. If they don't, good. It doesn't matter. Just share. Open your heart and share. But you want to be a workhorse. Trust me on that, okay? And a workhorse, you can't be a workhorse if you don't know how to present. Okay. So let me give it to you. The goal is to teach everybody to be able to do everything you can do without you doing it. Let me say that again. Your goal as a team builder, and I know some of you are like, I just want to get customers. Okay, stop. Stop right now. You know you want to do more than that. What happens to people is they'll talk to customers and they'll get 7 out of 10 of them to say yes. And you'll talk to people about the opportunity, you'll get 3 out of 10 of them to say yes. So you're like, well, I'm better at getting customers than I'm getting people to join. No, it's not that you're better at it. It's just more of a commitment. Getting somebody to buy products is easy, right? It's not hard. People like to try new stuff. They like to buy new stuff. Getting somebody to commit to a business, you got to develop your skills a little bit more. But it doesn't matter how good you are. If you're ever getting over 30 or 40%, you're not really getting people actually wanting to do the business. You might just be like basically, I don't want to say the word punking people into doing it, but you know what I mean? Like you're kind of pushing them to do something they don't want to do. You shouldn't be ever signing up more than 30% of the people that you talk to about the opportunity. That's just the law of averages. Yeah, I've been doing it for 30 years. If I start batting 50%, I'm like, wait a second. I know that I'm getting people that shouldn't be doing this business. Okay. So you want to realize you're not trying to be perfect. You're not trying to bat 100. You're trying to bat 20 to 30%. If you're batting 2 out of 10 or 3 out of 10 say yes, the opportunity, that's great. Now, what do you do with the other people that say no? You get them as a customer. That's why I always recruit to retail. I don't retail to recruit. Now, some people tell you, no, Tim, you got it all wrong. You want to retail to recruit. All right, well, when you get on my side of the money, we'll disagree. But I promise you right now, that's not the case. If I get you as a customer, then I backdoor you as a planner, guess what happens? You're going to try to do the same thing for your people. So who am I hurting when I do that? I'm hurting you as a new planner. So if I get a customer first, let them fall in love with the products, then I get them as a planner, guess what happens? They think that's how you do it, because how you bring people in is how you bring people up. So when you start and you lead with the opportunity and then you backdoor with the products, that's how you do it. I recruit to retail. I don't retail to recruit. Okay. Now I'm not saying it's wrong. People do it. I've got people making a lot of money doing it. But if they were doing it the other way, they would be caring more about the person, right? I care more about the person. That's why I lead with the opportunity. Okay. Because if I lead with the opportunity, I know they're going to do the same thing and they're going to get better results. Okay. Because it's all about speed and exposure, right? It's all about how fast. So always, in my opinion, always lead with the opportunity and then backdoor with the products. Now, some people will tell you, no, retail to recruit. And I'll just debate them. I'll be like, I'm not going to say you're wrong, but I've done both. And I know when I retail to recruit, what I do is I get people started and it's a slower process. And then when they get people, it's a slower process. So basically what we're doing is shooting our new people in the foot when we retail to recruit. But you're going to get the same result. If I lead with the customer, I'm going to get you as a customer. If I lead with the opportunity and you don't do the opportunity, I'm still going to get you as a customer, right? So our goal is to teach people how to do everything we can do without them doing it, right? The best example is obviously teaching a kid how to wipe its own butt. Like that's like the highlight of life, right? It's the best part of developing a kid, right? When you're raising your kid, it's like once they know how to wipe their own butt successfully, it's like, whew, the hard days are behind us, right? It's like, that's when it gets easy from that point moving on. But when you got dirty diapers or you got doo-doo draws, it's like, what's going on, right? Whenever you got skid marks and stuff like that, you're like, oh my God. So it takes time, but that's what we're doing, right? If you can teach a kid how to wipe its butt, you can definitely teach somebody how to become a presenter, but you got to learn how to wipe your butt first, right? But Tim's talking about booty wiping. But this is one of my favorite quotes out of a book called The Talent Code by Daniel Coyle. That book is great on parenting. And like a lot of you guys know, I'm a homeschool teacher too, as well as a football coach and obviously, successful husband. And, now I'm a grandfather, right? But a teacher is one who makes himself progressively unnecessary. How jackpot is that? Think about what that means. A teacher is one who makes himself progressively unnecessary. Jackpot. That's what you're trying to do when you're teaching somebody to do it, right? You're not trying to do stuff for people. You're trying to teach people how to do it for themselves, right? So I'm going to give you, it's kind of like a relay race, right? Step one, you've got to receive the baton. Would you agree with that? Right? If you're in a relay race and you won't receive the baton, you're like, I don't want to present. I don't want to present. And you're not receiving the baton from your upline leader. I'm like, I just want you to do all the presentations for me. Okay. All right. Well, the 10 most powerful 2-letter words in the English language is, if it is to be, it is up to me, right? So you've got to take responsibility and you got to learn how to do it. And the reason being is because there's somebody on the other side of the track that's waiting with their hands out, waiting for you to get that baton and bring it to them, right? And that means that you got to run your part of the race. Doesn't mean you have to be the fastest, right? You don't have to be the best to develop the best. Okay. I've developed presenters that are way more effective than I am. Okay. So I'm not trying to be the best. I'm trying to develop the most, right? That's how you win this. That's how you win this race, right? I know a lot of you are like, oh man, Tim's doing the presentation Monday night. Oh man, I don't want to be on. I wish so-and-so was doing it, or I wish so-and-so was doing it. You know what I mean? I get it. Like, I'm not that good, but I understand that I sometimes got to run the race, right? It's like, let me show you how to do it. I'll tell, show, try, do. But if you're too good, it's hard to develop because people look at you and they're like, oh, I can never duplicate what you do. So I dummy it down and I'm intentionally bad. Okay. I'm just kidding. I'm not. I'm not intentionally bad. I'm just bad. But no, step number 2 is run your leg of the race. People can't follow in your footsteps if your feet aren't moving. Ooh, that's hot. People can't follow in your footsteps if your feet aren't moving. That's one of my favorite quotes. This is one of my favorite, though, is what? Step number 3, pass the baton. And in order to do that, you got to be a good finder, not a fault finder. I'll talk a little bit more about that when we talk about developing leaders. But here's what I want you to talk about. I want you to think about. How does a giraffe know it's a giraffe? When it gives birth to a giraffe. Think about it. Because we give birth to what we are, not what we want, right? So you've got to become a presenter so you can develop other presenters, right? So stop talking about giraffes and get into this stuff, Tim. All right, I'll do it. Now, expedite your learning process. This is something that's critical. How do you expedite your learning process? Okay. Number 1 is this. Developing new skills takes time. Nobody's a natural. Okay. Nobody's a natural. Doesn't make a difference. And somebody's like, no, so-and-so is pretty good on day 1. Really? Let me ask their parents when they were born, how good they were when they came out of the womb. Okay. You learn how to do everything. Okay. Nobody's born a leader. People are like, no, this guy's a born leader. Probably a baby, probably a born baby. That's probably what probably reality is. People aren't born leaders. They're born babies. People aren't born great presenters. They're born babies. You understand what I'm saying? Like, you know, you can be like, my kid is the best. My baby's the best. All right, relax. It has the potential to be, right? But they're just babies. And then it's up to us to pour into them and to help them shape who they are, right? And it's the same with everybody. There's nobody that you're like, oh my God, so-and-so can do it. This person can't do it. This person can do it. This person can't do it. What? That doesn't make sense. Anybody can learn how to do this business. I'm living proof of it, okay? If I can do it, anybody can do it, okay? So just nobody's a natural. Now, this is what you want to become, is become a serious student, right? Your first year network marketing is critical, right? That book is so important by Mark Yarnell, okay? I gave out, some of you guys that work in Southern California with this, I gave out 3 of them last night. I'm going to give out 3 more next week at training at the university. And I'm doing this bonus. I'm giving out How to Read People Like a Book. I got 3 of those that just came in today. I'm giving them out next week. I'm getting excited. But get a journal. Be a buyer of empty books. Okay. Turn your car into a mobile classroom. Listen to personal growth and development. I'm putting up on there some of my favorites. Les Brown, John Maxwell, Robert Kiyosaki, Brian Tracy, Zig Ziglar, Jim Rohn. These are my personal favorites. Okay. You might have your own favorites, right? These are the people that I grew up listening to, right? Over when I was like 17 and got involved in this industry 30 years ago, I just turned my car into a mobile classroom, right? I don't listen to music in my car. If I'm with my wife, I do. She enjoys music. But if I'm not in the car with my wife, I don't listen to music. I listen to personal growth and development, okay? Because I like to get better. I don't want people to be like, Tim's good, but you should have saw him like 5 years ago when he was really good, right? I'm always trying to get better, right? Just so I can help other people get to a higher place. So turn your car into a mobile classroom, listen to personal growth and development. We're talking about expediting our learning process, right? More meetings means more money. Now, if you jump on a Zoom and you're walking your dog, you're probably not going to get much out of it, okay? If you're like, I'm on every Zoom, but I'm at the gym working out. All right, okay, you're on every Zoom. That's fictitious. If you're on a Zoom and you're sitting there taking notes aggressively, then guess what? Yeah, you really are you're getting out of it. But you got to realize that the more meetings means more money. But now, because of the Zoom era, you'll see people like taking a bath. Like, please turn your camera off, by the way, if you're taking a bath. But people taking a bath while they're on a Zoom, it's like, what are we doing here? Like, are we serious? Like, can you imagine if I was doing a meeting at headquarters and everybody had their own little bathtub and was taking a bath while I was doing a meeting? It's like, no, dude. Like when I'm on a Zoom, I'm sitting in my chair taking notes relentlessly. Why? Because I like making money, right? I'm not going to do something half-heartedly, right? So when you go, even though more meetings means more money, it doesn't mean if you jump on every Zoom, you're going to get rich if you're not taking from the Zoom, okay? Now, obviously, guard your mind, eliminate negative self-talk. You've got to make sure you think positive. right? Some of the biggest things that'll kill you is your own self. Like, Napoleon Hill says, don't be, afraid of the thief in the alley that's after your purse. Be afraid of the thief in your mind that's after your promise, right? So guard your mind and eliminate negative self-talk, right? When you're developing presenters, only give positive feedback. Avoid any type of negative criticism, okay? Bite your tongue until they fall in love with how to do it. And then once they became baby rattlesnakes and they're out there having success, then you can help really develop them. But at the beginning, when somebody's learning how to do it, you're amazing job. Like, you're absolutely amazing. And just because once they have that confidence, then you can it's kind of like you can't really not stir, but you don't stir a car. You steer a car, Tim. You can't steer a car, right, that isn't moving. You guys get what I'm saying? So you got to get people in moving, and you can help them get really better. That's why, and always remember, how you doing things, how you do everything. Your mindset is it. Like, dude, I'm going to learn how to present. Okay, I'm going to do it. That's an attitude. That's a good attitude. Okay, I'm gonna expedite my learning. I'm gonna get after this thing. If I'm gonna do something, why not be the best at it that I can possibly be? I'm not trying to compete with anybody else, right? I don't compete with others. I compete with the best version of myself that I can possibly be. So the time is never gonna be just right. People are like, oh man, I'm waiting to get ready. I'm getting ready to get ready to get ready to get ready. Okay, that doesn't even make any sense. Just start presenting. Okay. Once you get your car out of park, you can steer it, right? Number one is some of you guys, it's like you know the saying, right? You got to get out of reverse and get into first, right? We got to be going in the right direction, okay? So get into first gear and start working, and then we can get better. And then obviously you don't want to be the king or queen. You want to be the king or queen maker. Everybody knows that, okay? You want to be the king or queen maker. And always remember, the best presenter never wins, okay? The person who can duplicate the most presenters always wins. That's magic. You're not trying to be the best presenter you can be. Right? I'm not trying to be the best presenter. What I'm trying to do is duplicate the most presenters. That's how we win. If you get off this call and you're like, I'm going to do a presentation, guess what's going to happen? You're going to be nervous. You're going to be scared, and it's going to be terrible. And the second one's probably going to be worse. But the only way to get good at something is by doing it. You're not going to get good through osmosis. You're not going to get good by dreaming about it. You're going to get good by doing it. So what are you waiting for? Right? There's no shortage of people to practice on. Right? Think about it. How many million people are there? There's like over 1 million people that live in America alone, right? And there's over 10 million people that live in the world, right? Definitely more than that. So what are we talking about? There's so many people. Let's go practice. How do you practice? Like, doctors practice medicine, right? Attorneys practice law. We practice becoming successful by talking to people, okay? So if a doctor doesn't practice medicine, I don't really think that they're a doctor, right? I think you have to be a practicing doctor to be like considered. I don't know. You probably get to keep the title, but you wouldn't be considered like a doctor doing anything, right? Same with if you're an attorney, but you don't practice law, then I guess you're just like, you just got some cool title, like a couple digits at the end, or a couple like letters and stuff you can put at the end of your like business card or whatever. But the reality is you're not really doing anything, right? It's the same with our business, right? We got to be practicing, okay? And the more you practice, the better you get. And who do you practice on? People with a pulse. If you can fog a mirror, jackpot. I want to talk to you about RIMAN. Okay. If you say yes, great. If you say no, great. Why? Because if you say no, I got better. My mentor said the yeses build your bank account and the no's build you. Jackpot. So opening is the most important stage. How do you become great at presenting? You master opening. If somebody's open-minded, it's kind of like if you're trying, you guys know like these, you know how it is, like people got these cups now that have the lids on them. I can fill this thing up with water, but first I got to open it up. You guys see that? So if you open up a prospect, you can pour into them. But if you don't open them up, you're just basically I don't even know what it looks like. It's like you're chasing a chicken or something, right? I mean, it's like, can you imagine somebody just chasing a chicken? It's like, no, you don't chase chickens, okay? What you do is you just stop, put a little bit of seed down, and let them start eating in front of you and grab them, right? So you got to attract people to you. And how do you do that? By opening them up. So let's talk about opening them up, okay? The 3 stages to a presentation: open, present, close. It's magical. Stage 1, open. Opening your prospect, discovering their hot buttons, form, right? Ask them questions about family, occupation, recreation, and money. You want to create a little pain, right? Because you're going to sell somebody a Band-Aid, right? If you're going to sell somebody a Band-Aid, they got to look in the mirror and know, wait a second, right? I need this. So you help people. You don't do that by beating on people, though. You do it by letting them take a look in the mirror and be like, you know what? I do need to have a spare tire in my car. Number 2 is what? Present. Share the opportunity, right? Share the opportunity, right? Share prospects or RIMAN opportunity. Answer these 3 questions. Is it real? Can I do it? What's in it for me? Make the product a superstar. Show them that RIMAN is a solution to whatever pain that was created whenever you started asking them questions about themselves. Now, out of the 3 stages, number 2 is the least important. Okay? Least important. If I know I'm going to close strong, my opening is going to be good. But if you're going to try to be back everybody, you're like, I'm just going to be back them. I'm going to be back them. I'm going to be back them. I'm going to be back them. And you try to be back, and that's all you're doing. It shows, number 1, you don't have any confidence if you're a be backer. But if you're be backing people, right, meaning that you want them to just, be back for another meeting, be back for another thing, and you're just basically not closing the deal, your opening's going to be bad, your presentation's going to be bad. But if you're going to close strong, your opening is going to be magical because you got to get their emotion up. Your presentation is going to be powerful because you're going in for the close, right? It's kind of like the first date I took my wife on. I had intentions of getting a little goodnight kiss there at the end of the situation. You guys see how I was operating? Okay. That was my intention. So guess what? How the date went? Probably not as good as she wanted it to go, but it was good enough to maybe get a little kissy kiss, right? I don't think there was any tongue action. It might have been lip to lip, but hey, we're doing it, right? What I'm telling you is, if you're going in for the close, you're going to have a better experience. So have your link ready. You got to have the link ready, know how to get there, right? If you're meeting them face to face, right? What do you want to be doing, right? Have the application. Like, be willing to push print on your printer and print out an old school application. Why? Because when you're filling it out and you're putting pen to paper, it gives them time to come up, and then you can overcome any objections at that moment because you're going to go with the assumptive close, right? AAFTC, right? Always ask for the close, overcome any objections, receive payment, post-close, right? Set up a connection call with your upline team leader, right? If your upline team leader is lazy, then guess what? Just do it yourself, right? I'm just telling you, don't rely on your upline if your upline's not running, right? If your upline's a thrasher, because you got team leaders that just are, graduated to team leader and they're like, I made it. And you got team leaders that want to be directors. Those are the 2 type of team leaders there are. So what happens is, if your team leader's not really aggressively working the business, then just do the connection call yourself. I'm not asking Danny Bay every time I recruit somebody to do a connection call with me. I'm not like, hey, Danny, can you do it? You know what I mean? Like, it's not that I don't respect Danny. It's I respect Danny so much that I can just do it on my own, right? So open, present, close. Let's talk about how to do this, okay? Let's talk about opening. It's the most important step. Presenter, whoever the presenter is, got to be properly edified, right? If you're doing a 3-way, meaning like somebody's bringing somebody to you, right? Whether it's like a 1-on-1 or 2-on-1, if it's a 2-on-1 and somebody's bringing a prospect to you, you've got to be properly edified. Now, if you're bringing your prospect to somebody else and they're the presenter, you got to properly edify them. Edification is just simply just pointing out the good parts that you like about people, right? Learn how to say good things about others. Number 2 is always believe 100% they're going to get started. Doesn't matter if you've introduced a business to 4 people in a row and all 4 of them said, no, I don't want to be a distributor, and they just became customers, or maybe only 2 became customers, whatever. I don't know what you did. What I'm saying is I always expect everybody to want to do the business. I don't let yesterday's clouds ruin today's sunshine. Woo! I don't let yesterday's clouds ruin today's sunshine, okay? I'm optimistic, right? I believe everybody is always going to get started. And the reason why is because I don't remember people that say no. You know how like bad things happen in your life and you dwell on them? I forget bad things. Do you know what I do? I just stay busy. So like if somebody cuts me off on the freeway, I don't get mad. Why? Because I'm not even worried about it. Because before that, nobody cut me off. And that was awesome. And I'm just going to go back to that, right? So I'm not going to let whatever happened affect me, right? When you play golf effectively, they say don't let one shot affect the next, right? Same thing with basketball, same with all sports, right? Don't let your last shot affect your next, right? Always look at everything as guess what? 100% confidence. They're getting started, right? You always have one chance to make a first impression. So eye contact, smile, gentle touch, build trust. You're doing a one-on-one, a gentle touch, appropriate attire, right? You don't want to show up, you know what I mean? However, right? You don't want to show up in a suit to the pool, and you don't want to show up, right, to the business meeting in a swimsuit, right? Like you got to show up in appropriate attire, and also be on time. On time's early. What is it called? Early's on time. On time's late. Late's unheard of, right? You don't want to be late to a meeting, right? Because some personalities, they don't like that. Okay. So number 4 is what? Sit next to your prospect, because you're going to be an assistant buyer. Don't ever sit across the table from somebody. Okay, it's obvious. Everybody knows that. Okay. Now here it is. People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. That's why you spend the most time at the beginning opening them up by finding out about them, right? By asking them about their family, about asking them about their occupation, their recreation, their money, right? We want to find out what's important to them. And then you want to get them saying, me too, right? Not so what? You want to be like, me too, me too, me too. That's how you want to get them going. And how you do that is by connecting with them, right? Get them in the me too, not so what, right? Talk about what they like to talk about. If you're talking to somebody, like, what do you like to do what do you like to do for fun? They're like, oh, I like to ski. And you're like, skiing is for losers, dude. I'm a snowboard until you die. If you ski, you're an idiot. You got to be a snowboarder. You literally basically shot your foot off. Like, you're not ever trying to argue with anybody. Whatever they're into, you're into. Now, if you're not into it, talk about how you've always been interested in finding out more about that. If I'm talking to somebody that's a doctor, I'm not like, yo, man, me too. I'm a total doctor. I'm like, man, I'm so fascinated by doctors. So amazing how much school you do and how hard you work to be able to better people's lives. It's just unbelievable. You understand? You want to compliment people and make them feel good, right? It's obvious. You guys know this stuff. This is basic stuff. Ask open door questions. What, when, where, why, how? You guys all know this stuff, right? Everybody does this. You don't want to ask, are you, do you, have you? Those are called what? Closed door questions, right? Those are going to elicit a yes or no response. What, when, where, why, how? Open door questions. What do they elicit? More than just a yes or no response, okay? And be a great listener, right? You give physical feedback, spoken feedback. You guys have heard me talk about this before. Physical feedback, nod your head, get into what they're saying. Spoken feedback, yeah, wow, oh my God, seriously. Like me and my wife, we'll go on dates. We'll look at other people at the restaurant and be like, look at these people over here. Like, that dude is not getting any kissy time tonight. You know what I mean? Because he's not into what the person's saying, right? He's like not even paying attention. Or he's just standing there mad dogging. Like, you got to get into what people are saying. Give them physical feedback, spoken feedback. You got to get into what people are saying, okay? Now, another thing that's super important is what, right? Remember, your body never lies, okay? Your body always tells the truth, okay? So you got to be confident. Expect them to get in, lean forward. You got to be confident. If you've got your arms crossed, it's like, dude, what are you doing? Like, you literally, if you have like, this is what you're doing, like, you're literally, might as well not do a presentation. Like, if your arms are crossed, you're literally trying to do what, right? Tell them not to do what you're doing, right? You got to be confident, lean forward, eye contact, and expect them to get started. Just believe in yourself. Always be prepared. Notepad, documents, laminates, brochures, products, whatever. You got to have everything. Like, you got to have the stuff that you need, right? You be prepared. Like, you can't be like, oh man, I wish I had some product to show you. Like, you understand? Now, if you do that, I do that sometimes, but I know I have it. So I'll be like, man, I wish I had some products to show you. Wait a second. Maybe I do. Let me go check my car and see what I got. You understand what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? You know how I operate. But because when I talk to people, I'm trying to get them to be like, damn, I wish I had some products too, right? So I'm talking about the products. Like, I wish I had some here to show you. Wait a second. Let me go check my car. And I'll go to my car and get some. Like, dude, Jackpot City, I got some. So they know, oh yeah, you got some, great. I've been wanting to try this stuff, right? Because I kind of created that need, but I'm not going to be like, oh, I wish I had some products and go to my car. Oh, sure enough, don't. Like, you want to be prepared, right? Obviously, okay? Even if you're trying to act like you're not prepared, but then you are prepared, right? Okay, so present, just do it. Presenting, just do it. That's it. Like, you'll hear you'll hear 3 people do a presentation and all 3 be different. And be like, oh, yeah, I like this one better. Or I like this one better. It's like, dude, it doesn't matter. It really honestly does not matter. When I was new, I was like, I have to show people this guy's presentation because he's the best. But I realized that some of my biggest leaders signed up whenever the biggest booger picker in our company did the presentation. So I was like, wait a second. Everybody I showed, it doesn't matter. If they're good or they're bad, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter about how good you are. It's a matter of just doing it. Because the card is the card before you flip the card over. You're going through a deck of 52 cards. They're either going to say yes or no. People, like, you have a list of 100 people. Everybody has a list of 100 people. You don't have a list of 100 people yet. You're not in RIMAN, okay, obviously. Everybody's got a list of 100 when they start off. And we're going through that list. What are we doing? We're finding out if they want to do it or not. That's literally all we're doing. How do you find out? You don't find out by inviting them to see if they're interested. No, you show them RIMAN. Once they look at the opportunity, now you're flipping a card over. They're either going to say yes or no. And if they say yes, great, boom. If they say no, that means ask me again, right? In 6 months. And I talked about it last night. This is from the book, Mark Yarnell's book. You want to follow up with people every 6 months until they, number 1, sign up, or number 2, they die. That's it. Follow up every 6 months until people sign up or die after you show them the presentation. Because people's lives change every 6 months. And you want to keep following up until they're ready for it, okay? but just focus on building it, right? Just go to work. Okay. Some of my best people came in month 6. Some of my best people came in month 12, right? But guess what? We just kept on working. Okay. So actually, that's how it works. Okay. So master presenting, becoming a director. Just do it. Okay. So change their listening. The first thing I'm going to say is this. And now look, I'm not looking at this. Okay. I didn't put it on the screen. Okay. I'm going to send it. I'm going to say it to you. Okay. I'm going to change your listening and then I'm going to put it up there just to let you know. I know this backwards and forwards. Right now, what I'm going to do, this is what I'm going to say. That's what I'm saying to somebody before a presentation. I say, look, right now I'm going to give you enough information for you to be able to make an educated decision if RIMAN can help change you and your family's financial future. You taking up your time and me taking up my time when I'm all through, give me a simple yes or give me a simple no, because you and I both know maybe you're thinking about it as a nice way of saying no. Is that fair? And I stick my hand out and I get a handshake. You hear me say it again? I'll say it again and I won't even blink. Okay, here it goes. Right now, I'm going to give you enough information for you to be able to make an educated decision if RIMAN can help change you and your family's financial future. You taking up your time and me taking up my time when I'm all through, give me a simple yes or no, because you and I both know, and maybe you're thinking about it's a nice way of saying no. How do I know that? If I've been doing this business for 30 years and I average speaking to about at least 5 people a day, that's like, right now I'm running, so I'm talking to 10 people a day, but sometimes I'm only talking, not always doing that, okay? But over the course of 30 years, I would say I average 5 presentations a day, and I say that in every presentation. So if I say that in every presentation, I'm probably going to memorize it. You got to learn how to do this. What I just said there, right there, that's money. Right now, I'm going to give you enough information for you to be able to make an educated decision if RIMAN can help change you and your family's financial future. With you taking up your time, and of course, me taking up my time when we're all finished today, give me a simple yes or give me a simple no, because obviously, because you and I both know what maybe you're thinking about is simply a nice way of saying no. Is that fair? Handshake, boom. I've said that for the last 30 years. Every presentation. Why? Because my mentor taught it to me. Do you guys see how smart I am? I go, how do you close so many people? Everybody signs up. He goes, well, the first thing I do is I change their listening. I go, what do you mean by that? He goes, I say what I just showed you. And he goes, I say that. Now they're not going to give me a maybe or think about it. They know that they have to make a decision. So they're going to listen with a different set of ears. You're basically cleaning people's ears out before you present when you do this, changing the listening, because they are listening with the intent to make a decision, not listening with the intent to be entertained. Boom. This is money, right? I'm giving you guys gold bars of money. This is like basically, I feel like we're printing money right now. Woo! Okay, here we go. I'm going to give you 12 reminders on, okay, these are the 12 tips on how to become an effective presenter. Understand is the first part of influencing. Okay, so seek first to understand, then to be understood. You got to figure out where they are. You can't take somebody to where you want them to go or where they want to go if you don't find out first where they are, right? So you got to understand that. And once you understand them, then you can identify with them. Identification is everything. If you're not identifying with your prospect, you're missing the boat. Now, how do I identify with people? I talk about pain. When I do a presentation, I talk about pain. Now, most people can't relate with the way that I grew up, but they can relate with some form of pain. Everybody relates with pain. Most people don't talk about their pain, right? Because they're too insecure to talk about it. But for me, I'll talk about how I grew up. I'll talk about my life. And as a result of that, people are identifying with pain. So you want to realize, you figure out a way to do it, right? I'm identifying with people by talking about pain. So identification is everything, right? Open them up to something different, okay? That's super important to do. If you start just talking to them about how, you know what I mean? Doing the RIMAN business, they're like, this is different. We had usual way, usual pay, unusual way, unusual pay. I'm telling you guys this stuff, and then Monday I'm going to do a presentation. You watch, you'll be like, dang, dude, Tim just basically trained us exactly what he just did. Okay, decision-making is 20% logic, 80% emotion. Meaning what? It's not what you know, it's how you feel about what you know. Bingo. Number 5 is what? Get your prospects in the yes mode. Does that make sense? You see what I'm saying? You follow me on this? Like, obviously, you would agree with me, right? I mean, it's kind of a no-brainer, right? You want to get people saying yes, okay? You know, you don't want people saying no, okay? Obviously, remove all the objections in the presentation. This is magic right here. This is by far the most important of everything I've talked about so far. Remove the objections in the presentation. If you do 5 presentations and you hear the same objection, what did you just discover? If I do 5 presentations and all of them give me the same excuse, what did that just tell me? That I did an inadequate job of removing that objection throughout my presentation. So what do? I destroy that objection. I completely annihilate that objection. So when I get to the presentation, to the close, they ain't saying that. They're not saying that. Okay. And I'll teach you how to do that with something called closing the believability gap, right? I'm going to teach you that. Don't worry. Okay. Paint them into the picture. WIIFM, right? What's in it for me? Paint them in the picture, right? If I know I'm talking to somebody and they're like, man, I want to make an extra 10,000 a month, right? Residual income, right? So I can, start paying like on top of what I've already got going on in my life so I can get a brand new house. What am I doing? When I show them the money and what's possible, I'm going to say, look, if you are making, and I'm going to show them how, if somebody wants to make 10 grand a month, I'm going to show them how to make 10 grand a month. And I'm going to say, look, I showed you how to make 10,000 a month. Now you and I both know, right? If you're making 10,000 a month, how would that change your life? I'm asking people this question. How would that change your life? Would you be able to save up for that house that you wanted? Heck yeah, you would, right? Would you be able to change some things in your life? Heck yeah. You want me to help you make that? It's going to take work. It's going to take work. Not everybody's going to make 10,000 with the RIMAN opportunity. Can they? It's not about can or can. It's about will or won't. And will you or won't you is going to be determined by the actions you take. You got to be willing to take action. You got to be willing to learn. You got to be willing to put the time, effort, and energy into it. But you're going to be putting the time, effort, and energy into something. Might as well put it in this so we can get you to where you want to go. That's called painting them in the picture. What's in it for me, right? Always use voice inflection. Okay? What's voice inflection? Let me see. How am I doing? I'm see if I have time to say. I'm not going to have time to train this right now. You can put you like this, right? Is just make sure you're not monotone, right? Highlight certain words, put comments and stuff wherever you want. But if I'm like if I say always use voice inflection, right? That means you always gotta use voice inflection. But you got to be like always use voice inflection, right? When you're speaking. So now you're talking about you got to really inflect your voice. You got to always use voice inflection when you're speaking, right? So now we're talking about only when you're speaking, right? So you can change the meaning of a sentence by using voice inflection. And always remember, a good presentation will educate, entertain, and inspire. Okay? Educate, entertain, and inspire. Okay? And if you're monotone and you're not using voice inflection, get excited. Like if you won the lottery, how would you be? Like, oh wow, I just won the lottery. It's like sometimes people need to learn how to communicate their feelings to their face. Have your feelings send an email to your face, right? Just get excited. Okay. You don't have to be me excited, but you got to be you excited, right? And if you're monotone, you're not influencing people because they're falling asleep. Okay. So good presentation will educate, entertain, and inspire. Now let's wrap this thing up here about presenting. Make fun of yourself before the prospect does. You know what I mean? Like, how many times have you ever heard me say I'm an ugly dude in the beauty industry? Everybody's thinking it when they see me, right? Everybody looks at me like, what is this ugly dude selling beauty products for? So I just get it out of the way, right? Because if I don't say, hey, this ugly dude selling beauty products, guess what they're thinking? What's this ugly dude doing selling beauty products? So I'll just go ahead and get rid of it right away. So then if you don't make fun of yourself, they will, right? So always make fun of yourself. Give commercials for the next event, right? Think about what I'm saying. Give commercials for the next event. Like Monday night, I'm going to be doing an overview. What would happen if you got guests on there, right? You'll be able to see me do a presentation, right? But what if you present it to them first and then use it as second exposure? That would be smart. I just did a commercial, right? Today I went live on the team Facebook page. What'd I do? Gave a commercial about tonight's event. I give commercials nonstop. Why? Because you're trying to move people from event to event. Okay. So what are you branding? What are you branding? Right? Everybody's branding something when they talk to people. Okay. I could record you or I could watch you do a presentation and say, this is what you're branding. Okay. Prospects don't care where you are. They care where you're going. Okay. So don't think like, oh, once I hit national director like you, Tim, everybody's going to join me. Not the case. I did not have a problem signing people up when I was a senior manager. Okay. Did not have a problem. I was probably closing a higher percentage when I was a senior manager, right? You guys understand? Like, I'm just telling you, people don't care where you are. They care where you're going. So don't think, oh, once I hit team leader, people are going to follow me. No, man. It's once you decide that you're going to the top, over, under, through, you're going to make it happen. People are going to follow you, but they can't follow in your footsteps if what? Your feet aren't moving. We talked about that earlier. Okay. I hope you got that. So closing the believability gap. I want to talk a little bit about this. Okay. This was taught by Billy Graham. Okay. Billy Graham is like the best presenter in my lifetime, right? I mean, in my lifetime. right? Billy Graham had a school of evangelism, and he had this school of evangelism. This is where he taught this from. Okay. Some of the people that were in the school of evangelism got into network marketing and taught it to network marketers. Now, very few people know this. I was very fortunate to have a mentor that taught me the believability gap. So what I'm going to do is I can remove any objection with the believability gap. Okay. So it's identify, attack and confess, logic and reason, call to action. So give an excuse. Like whatever excuse you hear, I can destroy it with the believability gap. Okay. I'll use any excuse. I'll use like I don't have any time. Okay. So like when I took a look at this business for the first time, I was at a point in my business, I was busy. Like I was at a point in time where I had no time. Okay. Like I was like, I wanted more, right? I want to have a better quality of life. I want to be able to have more free time, but I was so busy. Right. Now I'm gonna attack being busy and confess that it was me. But it's like, look, one thing I know is what, right? Busy people do get things done. Like I do know that. But I knew that the older I get, the more responsibilities I'm going to get, not less. So I said, if I'm busy now. Imagine I'm going to be in the future. So I just attacked the problem, confessed that I had it. And then I realized, now I'll do some logic and reason. But then when I thought about it, I said, wait a second, I got 24 hours in a day, just like everybody else. I got 168 hours in a week, just like everybody else. It wasn't that I didn't lack time. I lacked time management skills. So I got started because the guy that was showing me how to do this, my mentor, he said, I'll teach you how to be able to manage your time. So I got started right away so I could learn how to manage my time better. Now I have all the free time in the world. I just closed the believability gap. So I can do this with any objection. It doesn't matter. It's a cookie cutter. All this does is destroy objections. This is the objection destroyer. Okay. So identify the problem, attack the problem, confess you had it. Don't attack the person, attack the problem and confess you had the problem. Give them enough logic and reason to justify making an emotional decision, which is a call to action. Okay. Same thing every time. So simple. Okay. Closing the believability gap. Now, AAFTC. Always ask for the close. Okay. Always ask for the close. This is a no-brainer. Like, okay, I'm going to teach you guys probably the most important thing. I'm going to give you today, right now, the 12th. This is bonus information today. I was going to teach this, but I'm going to give you guys bonus training right now. I'm going to give you the 12 tips on how you can become an effective closer. Okay. Number one is this: confidence, urgency, fear of loss. Confidence, urgency, fear of loss. You got to have a fear of loss mentality, right? Where understanding that 97% of the people are motivated by fear of loss, 3% of Americans and people in America or people in the world are motivated by hope of gain. Meaning what? What does that mean, Tim? Okay, you're just saying a bunch of words that are long. Explain this to me, dude. All right, I will. Majority of people would rather get started in RIMAN just so their friend doesn't get rich without them. Just because they saw an opportunity, they don't want to miss out on it. That's why most people will join RIMAN, because they're sitting down talking to somebody that's going somewhere, and they don't want to look back and be like, I looked at RIMAN at the beginning and I said no, and my friend got rich. That's why they join RIMAN. That's how human beings are. They're more motivated by fear of loss than hope of gain. Only 3% of the people get started in RIMAN to become wealthy. Okay? So when you're talking to somebody knowing that, you've got to use fear of loss. How do I do that? I just share my story. My buddy Danny Bay, who showed me RIMAN, I already knew he was going to get wealthier. This is the God honest truth. There was 0% doubt. I know Danny Bay, right? I've known him, for 25 years. He doesn't fail at anything. So I knew he was going to get rich with or without me. So I could get rich with him, or I could sit back and be like, damn, I saw that one and I missed out. And I decided to do something else. I didn't want to watch him get wealthy without me. I'm like, this is no brainer. And I didn't want to miss working with him, right? I like working with people that work hard, right? I don't like being around lazy people. I like to be around people that are going to try to basically be on my pace, right? Or somebody that can outpace me, right? I'm looking for people to inspire me with their activity. So I like working with Danny. So it's a fear of loss mentality. So I share that story, and people are going, damn, my friends in RIMAN too, and I don't want to watch them get rich without me, right? So that's why you got to understand, it's not where you are, it's where you're going. That's what's going to inspire people. Always have the application ready to go, okay? It's like when I took my wife on the first date, I had a breath mint ready to go. I was getting kissy time. You guys get what I'm saying? I wasn't like, damn, I need to go get a breath mint. I had one in my pocket, right? I had a breath mint. I had a bullet in my chamber. Like I was ready, had the breath mint ready because I'm getting kissy time, right? So understand, you got to have the application ready. You got to have confidence. You got to know they're getting started. You can't be like, oh my God, let me go find a breath mint. This person wants to kiss me. You understand what I'm saying? Like you already knew it, right? So it's the same type of situation. You got to have your application ready to go. Like you already know you're filling it out. right? Even if I'm doing it over the phone, I got an application. We're going to fill out the application. I'm going to do it over the phone, right? I'm doing it over Zoom with them. Let me show you how to fill this thing out. It's all you're going to be doing the first week or two. You're just going to be filling out applications for other people. Yeah. So let me show you how to do it right, so you don't have to do it twice. Okay. And then obviously always expect people to get started with the highest pack, right? Premium set, whatever we call it, right? I don't know. It's always the biggest pack possible. Like I'll meet people like, oh, I just want them to get started with a 300-point pack. Like, what are you talking about? If you are only trying to close people at 300-point packs, you're like number one, you're weak sauce. Like I expect people to get started with 1,500-point packs. That's what I do. Now, when I'm talking to people like that, somebody goes, you talk to everybody like everybody. Why? Because it's going to make 1,500 look like chump change. If I'm talking about 6,000, 1,500 looks like nothing. This is a business, dude. Like an average small business in America costs $450,000 US. What? If the average business is $450,000, and somebody says, well, you don't know my warm market, dude. The country I live in, people don't have a lot of money. So if I expect everybody to get started with 6,000, I'm definitely getting them in for at least 300. But if you set your goal at 300, you're going to get a lot of people getting started with one bottle of X cream. Like, dude, they're going to go to battle with one bottle of X cream. Like, what are you doing, dude? Like, I'm not trying to sign people up. I'm trying to make people successful. You understand what I'm saying? I'm not trying to be like, oh my God, I got a new person in my genealogy. That's not my goal. My goal is to make people successful. So I don't sign people up without a pack. Somebody's like, well, I want to get started now and not buy any products. It's like, okay, why don't you just buy products and not get started? You understand? I'd rather get them as a customer, let them fall in love with the products. If somebody wants to spend $20 on a membership or $20 on some enzyme cream, what's better for them? Enzyme cream. At least try the products. For crying out loud. So you got to always expect people to get started with a premium set, basically. Always ask closing question and be quiet. Okay? Brevity. People that talk too much when they're closing, that just shows weakness. Like I'm going to ask a closing question. I'm going to be quiet. So what'd you like best about what you saw? The products. The products? Heck yeah. The products are incredible. People fall in love with the products instantly. That's what I like too. When I saw this, I was like, man, these products are amazing. They say the Complan, yeah, Complan blew me away. Whatever they say, oh my God, I love that too, right? Well, let's get you started. So I want to get you started right away so I can lay out a game plan for you where we can get you making a lot of money fast. Because I want to do a game plan session with you. Whose name you want to come on your checks? Your name or your wife's name? Ha ha ha. Your name or your husband's name? Ha ha ha. Right? Probably your name, right? Maybe you want to do both, whatever. Now, where do you want your checks into, right? What address? I'm filling out the application, right? Boom. Right now, obviously, the majority of people that get started want to make as much as they can as fast as they can, so they want to get the biggest package. You look like the type of person that wants to make a lot of money fast too, so you probably want to get the biggest pack possible. Okay, so what pack made the most sense to you? Boom. Right? I mean, it's kind of like just have confidence, dude. Like it's super simple. Use a cushion. Always feel, felt, found. Right? I was talking to Travis Ortiz last night. URL. Right? Understand, relate, and then what? L. Learn. Right? I understand. I can totally relate. Here's what I learned. Same thing. Feel, felt, found. No, I felt the same way. Here's what I found out. Right? When I do it, it doesn't sound like feel, felt. It's like feel. Oh my God. I'm so pumped that you said that because that's exact, like word for word, like literally word for word. That's what I said. Now, if it's not, I'm going to be like, ooh, I'm glad you said that. You know who said that? Word for word, so-and-so. My top leader said this. And I'm just digging into the bag of tricks. Somebody said that to me. Right? I'm going boom, 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 boom. They felt the exact same way. And then they found this out and they said, ooh, I got to get started right now. So boom, you just go through it. I know how you felt the same way. Here's what I found out. Then overcome the objection. Super easy, okay? Persistence wears down resistance. Always remember 7 no's equals a yes. Okay? 7 no's equals a yes. The majority of people are going to say no, 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 no. Somebody else, well, they say no. I should just stop. No, wrong. If they're still sitting down, they want to join. If I'm talking to somebody and they're still sitting there and they're not dangling their keys or they're not leaning towards the door, then I know they want me to get them started. So you got to always understand something. If somebody's still sitting there, they want in. So keep on closing. They might want to do it, but they're not, they want to see how confident you are. So always remember resistance wears down, persistence wears down resistance. Fill out the application online with them. Don't be like, here, let me send you my URL link and try to figure it out. Like, no, dude, like, last thing you want is somebody filling out the information wrong. Like, if you're like, I'm going to help you out 100%, I'm going to be there for you every step of the way, except for this first step, which is filling out an application. Like, you want to show people how to do it, okay? People will be afraid to join you when they know that you know where you're going, okay? Some people close to live and other people live to close, okay? Meaning what? Some people that close to live are trying to sign people up because they're desperate. Other people live to get people started in this business for what can it do for them, right? I live to close. I live to sign people up in this opportunity, okay? If you don't get the close, always leave them happy and get them to the next event, okay? And always remember, you want to stay on track. At the top is effort in white. On the bottom is yellow results. So the beginning is just you. So you're putting in a lot of effort, not getting a lot of results. But if you keep on keeping on and you stay consistent after 30, 60, 90 days, you're going to be putting in an effort. You're going to be getting a multiple reward from it. So you get started, you stay on track, boom, you're jacked. You're excited. You're making money. But if you don't stay on track, what happens is you get started and you fall off track, and then boom, next thing you know, you end up over here, and then bam, you got all black eye, right? Stay on track. Be consistently consistent, not consistently inconsistent. Okay? How do you do that? Step one, take action. Have 5 guests on the Money Opportunity Zoom. Get 5 people on the Money Opportunity Zoom. If I told you I'd give you $1 million cash if you got 5 people on the Opportunity Zoom, could you do it? Yes. So it's not a matter of can or can, it's a matter of will or won't. It's not about capabilities. It's not about capacity. It's about willingness. It's not about whether you can or can't do something. It's about will you or won't you. And if the stakes are right, we'll do it. How bad do you want to win? Get 5 guests on the opportunity presentation. Number 2 is this. The next thing is what? Recruit 1 new planner and help them go 7 days senior manager bonus. Help them get the senior manager bonus. You know how jacked up you'd be right now if you got somebody started in the next 7 days and help them become a senior manager? You know how excited you'd be? Okay? Well, guess what? If you're excited, you're going to make that happen, okay? So make sure everybody's getting the Mother Day promo. Like, you guys don't let me have this stuff like, boom. You know how pumped my wife is? You understand what I'm saying? You know what I mean? You got to make sure you get your mothers the Mother's Day gifts. Bam. No brainer. Take advantage of that. Don't miss out. And then obviously April 30th is the last chance for the discount on the tickets for registration. Okay. Convention. April 30th is the deadline to get the discounted rate. Okay. For the convention. You can scan this QR code right now and register online. Bam, you're in.